Tremendous, lethal, volatile, earth-shattering sports talk will commence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. This is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live. Real live. Yes. October 14th, 2014. And you are in the building for the realest, the trillest sports talk show in America. Yes. I love when I say America. Yeah. Thank you for joining your boy. And this is the Top 5 Tuesday. We're going to have some top 5 fun. We're going to have some number 1 fun on this show for the next 2 hours. So do me a favor. Tell somebody. Call one of your boys, one of your cousins, and tell them about the livest, most interactive, most fun show online and on radio. Yes. Thank you so much for joining your folks. The number is 404-382-0338. 404-382-0338. And wow. Scandals abound. Yes, that's the kind of like the theme for today's show, because a lot of scandal conversation and talk going on, especially in the world of college football. NFL owners are meeting, talking about scandal and who's going to judge said scandal. Todd Gurley's in the news. Jameis Winston's in the news again. Unbelievable, this guy's in the news again. So we're going to talk about all of that today and talk about a quick little story. And you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and we're brought to you today by FanDuel. FanDuel, one-day fantasy sports for as low as $1. So go to my website, thedougstewartshow.com, and click on their banner link and check out FanDuel. You know, fun, fantasy football. Actually, our basketball tournament is getting set up, and our basketball fantasy league is getting set up, and people are talking about that. And basketball season is right around the corner. Basketball season is right around the corner, so cannot wait for that. All right, this is the Doug Stewart Show. So I'm reading this article, I think it was last night, and the article is basically talking about McDonald's and the fact that McDonald's is going on this like campaign to answer people's questions about their product. You know, about Mickey D's and the fact that, everybody always has these conspiracy theories, and everybody says I'm a conspiracy theorist, but, everybody always has these conspiracy theories about fast food and about what's in the food, this, that, and the other. So this story goes on to talk about how, McDonald's beef is like high quality stuff. And I'm like sitting there reading it, and they actually have a little video, and I posted the video to my Facebook page and to my Twitter page. So go check that video out. The video is kind of like, I think it's probably like 4 or 5 minutes. And there's this guy, and he's touring the McDonald's facilities and their meat processing place or whatever. And so he's getting some real answers, and you're watching how they process the meat and this, that, and the other. And so McDonald's, at the bottom line, the end of the story is that McDonald's food and their meat and everything, McDonald's is all gravy. Yes! And I knew it. But here's the thing about it. I didn't even need to see that. Because you know why? McDonald's, and in particular, the Big Mac. The Big Mac is one of my guilty pleasures. Yes, I don't care what kind of news came out. I don't care what kind of disturbing information or report came out. I had made a pledge that in my life, I would never, ever, ever stop eating Big Macs. In particular, I said that to myself, and I'm very, I guess I'm very leery about certain things. I actually stopped eating pork 4 years ago. I hadn't touched a piece of swine in 4 years. Now that's saying a lot for a country boy from the low country of South Carolina. I mean, that's saying a lot, but I've stuck to it, and I really haven't missed it. And I'm not going to even go into all of the reasons of why I stopped eating pork, but I did. And I'm okay, I'm fine. But I said to myself that there's certain things that I just will not give up. My first job, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, my first job was at McDonald's, okay? my very first job was at McDonald's. And so at that point, I was probably 15. Yeah, I was working illegally because I wasn't 16 or whatever the age was at that time to work. So I was working at McDonald's, and that was my first job ever. And I remember I had probably eaten, when I worked at McDonald's that year, I'd probably eaten, 100 Big Macs. So I just did a little calculation, and I say I averaged 3 Big Macs a year or 3 Big Macs a month. 12 months a year. For the last 30 years, I'll be 45 years old next month. And I calculated that I've eaten, and this is probably an underestimate, I've calculated that I've eaten probably over 1,080 Big Macs in my life. Yes! But you know why? Because I love it, and it's the greatest hamburger that's ever been made. 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I won't stop eating Big Macs. I don't care what kind of information, what kind of news report that says that they're hazardous to your health, this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter to me. That's what I'm going to do. And, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy eating my Big Macs. So that's kind of like the Dougie Daily question today on this Top 5 Tuesday is, what's your guilty pleasure? It's kind of like a little side topic. What is your guilty pleasure? Something that no matter what people say about it or how they say you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, it's something that you are just never going to give up. Yes. I mean, don't call up here and say cocaine. That's not a guilty pleasure. That's an addiction, man. Okay? So I'm not talking about crack or cocaine or anything like that. I'm talking about something that's fun and nice and cute and that we can discuss. I'm not talking about hard drugs. I'm not saying call up here and talk about how you a sherm head. I'm not talking about that. Mine is Big Macs, okay? And in McDonald's, and everybody knows about McDonald's fries. They have the best fries in the world. Some people say they're too salty. Damn it, no, they're not. They're perfect. So what's your guilty pleasure? So we're going to have some fun with that today on The Doug Stewart Show. You can email me, Doug, at thedougstewartshow.com. You can also hit me on Twitter at The Doug Stewart Show, on Instagram at The Doug Stewart Show. And you can give me a call at 404-382-0338. That is the number to the show. And we're also going to talk about Monday Night Football. We're going to talk about Jameis Winston, Todd Gurley, and we got the great Takeo Spikes, former Buffalo Bill, former Cincinnati Bingo, former San Francisco 49er, former, who else? San Diego Charger. Yeah, former Auburn Tiger, great linebacker, is going to join us today. And so we're going to get his thoughts on his Auburn Tigers and how they go down this past weekend, and his thoughts on college football, what he's got going on. And I'm going to ask him, and I always ask these guys when I get them on the show, is, how you feel? I mean, do you miss the game? Because Takeo Spikes, and if you've never seen Takeo Spikes, if you're listening to the show from a market that didn't pick up the 2 Live Stews, or you're not from Georgia, you don't know a lot about Southern football, not particularly Georgia, but Southern football and the SEC and ACC, Google Takeo Spikes. The man, and I tell him this all the time, sometimes you fall into what you should do for a career and what your passion is for a career and what makes you happy in life. When Takeo Spikes was born, his neck, okay, the fact that he had a 32-inch neck, it was evident that this man was made and he was born to play the game of football. So if you don't believe me, Google Takeo Spikes and just look at this man's neck. It's unbelievable. This man has the biggest neck in the history of necks. And so Takeo's going to come on today, and we're going to have some fun with him and talk about, everything football related and just have some fun. And we're also on this Top 5 Tuesday, the top 5 subject is Top 5 Scandals in College Football. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my top 5 a little bit later in today's show, but we got a bunch of honorable mentions that I'm going to mention throughout today's show when you're talking about college football scandals, and you pretty much can guess what the top 5 is going to look like. But I'll give you that a little bit later. How about this? A.J. Green. You remember A.J. Green, the wide receiver for the Georgia Bulldogs? Dude sold his Independence Bowl jersey for $1,000 and was suspended for 4 games, okay? In this story I'm looking at, they kind of poke fun at the fact that he was suspended for 4 games for making $1,000 off of his Independence Bowl jersey which the Independence Bowl is not even a bowl that you write home about. But he was fined or suspended for 4 games. And then the funny thing about it, though, is A.J. Green at that time, the University of Georgia, had 23 different versions of A.J. Green's number 8 jersey that they sold online from the online store. Yes, and that's the hypocrisy of all of this scandal and the fact that these guys are signing autographs and getting money. It's their likeness. It's them. It's all them. I mean, A.J. Green is A.J. Green, but A.J. Green can't profit off A.J. Green. But the Georgia bookstore or the Georgia online store had 23 versions of his number 8 jersey at the time this whole suspension thing went down. So just unbelievable, and the hypocrisy is crazy. And if you've listened to the show before, and you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show, if you've listened to me on radio for over the last decade and on this show, you know that I call these cats pimps. They pimps, and these players are the hoes, and we know it. And things are going to change at some point, but it's going to be a minute. So I don't blame A.J. Green for selling his damn Independence jersey. He didn't want it. It's a sorry-ass bowl anyway. And put a couple dollars in his pocket. You know, he could go out and get him a meal, take his gal out. I got no problem with that. And so we're going to talk about the top 5 scandals in college football. Hit your boy on Twitter in the chat line on Spreaker.com. I want to get your thoughts on that, having a little fun with that. And also, what's your guilty pleasure? What won't you give up? No matter what the circumstances are. I told you mine are Big Macs. And what about yours? What won't you give up no matter what the case may be? You're not going to give it up. We'll talk to Takeo Spikes a little bit later, but when we get back from the break, we'll talk a little bit about this Monday Night Football last night. Don't go away. It's the Doug Stewart Show.
This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on the DougStewartShow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Yes!
He's nobody's sports talk puppet. The Doug Stewart Show.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. And we're talking about guilty pleasures on today's show. Mine is a Big Mac. I'm not giving up Big Macs for nobody. I don't care what. It's absolutely delicious. Yes. And I still probably have about 2 of them a month. And they're just delicious. Now, what's your guilty pleasure? You know, I'm reading the chat line on Spreaker.com. It says mine is red velvet cake. Love it. Nice, moist red velvet cake. That's from Fred Mack. From Rel Scott, it says, I ain't giving up Crown Royal and ginger ale for nobody. I feel you. Shouts out to Crown Royal. And also, here's one from Kim Jane. She says, I ain't giving up chocolate for nobody. You know what? That's kind of another one of my guilty pleasures as well. It's chocolate. I'll go in and get me a Mr. Goodbar in a minute. Yes. And I talked about it a while back, a couple years ago, because it's been 2 years since we've been on Atlanta radio. But, I have these issues with my teeth, and surely it's because of the sweet tooth that I have. All right? But guess what? I made a change in my life. Wherever I eat something, anything, I brush my teeth immediately following. And I know the dentist told us to do this as kids, but you know good and well you didn't travel around with no toothbrush and brush your teeth after you ate anything. So whenever I eat some sweets, I always just pull out the little toothbrush, and whether I'm in a restaurant or something like that, and I brush my teeth afterward. And so hopefully I'm good. Hopefully I'm good. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining, you folks. This segment is brought to you by Join 7. Join 7 is a protection group and protect against life's little mishaps. So check out Join 7 on my webpage, thedougstewartshow.com. And what we're talking about is guilty pleasures. What's yours? Hit me up on Spreaker.com as well as Twitter. And also we're talking about scandal in sports, because that's pretty much the topics going on today in the world of sports. Jameis Winston's in the news. You know about Todd Gurley and the issues he has and the supposed autograph signing. So we'll get more into details about those stories in a minute. But I'm going to give you my top 5 college football scandals a little bit later in today's show. But I'm going to run through a couple of honorable mentions. How about the bidding war for Albert Means? You remember that name? If you're a college football fan, you remember Albert Means, and especially if you're a University of Alabama fan, because Alabama was suspended or received probation for, I think it was 5 years. Albert Means was shopped around by his high school coach and an Alabama booster, Logan Young, and he was convicted in 2005 of paying $150,000 to bring him to Alabama. Now, if you know the story, he never went to Alabama because of all of this controversy. There were 8 different teams that the NCAA verified were trying to get this kid. He was Albert Means was the coming of Reggie White or Cortez Kennedy or Russell Maryland or somebody like that. He was about to be, or supposed to be, the next great defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman. And that didn't happen so much. So Alabama got on probation for 5 years, and you could pretty much call that the death penalty. And Alabama's really just bounced back over the last couple of years under Nick Saban, but they had been down for a couple of years. The recruiting obviously was affected. I believe that might have been the Mike Shula regime. So let me verify that. But yeah, you remember Albert Means, and dude never played in the NFL. He was one of them dudes that was fat and sloppy and didn't take care of his business and didn't get drafted. He played at Memphis State, and I think he was pretty good, but he played at Memphis State, didn't get drafted, and actually signed as a free agent somewhere and didn't make the team. And the rest was history. But this guy was the bee's knees coming out of high school. So, yeah, we're talking about scandal today, and my top 5 scandals, I'll give those to you a little bit later. But that's what's going on right now in college football. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. A lot of scandal, a lot of accusations of signing autographs and getting paid. Why not? Why not? And if you read my solution to paying college athletes a couple of days ago when we were real deep into the subject, I talked about that. I talked about how the superstar college football player can get paid more or capitalize on their brand more so than the second string volleyball player. I talk about that. So, there's a way to do it. Are they going to figure out a way to do it? They're going to fight it, but I think at some point it's going to come to fruition. How about last night? You are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Last night, the San Francisco 49ers, they get it done 31-17 over the St. Louis Rams. So good win for the 49ers. And now they're 4-2. They're 4-2. Started off kind of shaky. I think they won their first game, but then lost 2 in a row. So people started to question them. And, all the controversy going on right now around Jim Harbaugh, and they got a ton of injuries. I actually picked the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. And a lot of people question that. And you know how you make these preseason picks, and you talk about who you like to see in the Super Bowl, who you think you're going to see in the Super Bowl. And so my preseason pick from the NFC was the San Francisco 49ers going against the Denver Broncos. And people say, man, you're crazy. They got half the team suspended or injured. Why would you pick the San Francisco 49ers? Simply put, because I just think it's their time. They've been very close over the last couple of years, even making it to a Super Bowl. Another year of development by Colin Kaepernick, who had a big game last night, throwing for over 300 yards. I just figured that it's their time. It's their time to make it to the Super Bowl. I had them taking on the Denver Broncos. Now, I don't have the 49ers winning it, but I have them going, representing the NFC. So I like the 49ers and the Denver Broncos making it to the Super Bowl, and Peyton Manning gets another ring. You know why? Because it's time. It's just hard for me to think. And a lot of this stuff, it's almost like you get a feeling, and people can tell you all they want. They can prognosticate and pick this, that, and the other. Excuse me. That's not the case. That's not the case. But you've seen sports and the way these things work, and usually it takes a year or two for a team to progress and vie for a championship. It took the Dallas Cowboys, or it took the Green Bay Packers a couple of years to get past the Dallas Cowboys. You remember that? You remember the Bulls? It took the Bulls a couple of years to get past the Detroit Lions, the Michael Jordan Bull era. So usually these things build themselves up, okay? And that's kind of what I'm expecting from the San Francisco 49ers. This team just has too much talent. It has too much great coaching. They're going to get healthy by the end of the year. Navarro Bowman's going to come back healthy from that knee injury he sustained last year. They're going to get guys back from suspension. And I think the 49ers are going to gel at the right time. And that's what it takes. It's all about when you gel. We've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens do that. They gel at the right time of the year, and they get everything, and they get clicking on all cylinders at the right time of the year. So that's what I'm thinking may happen with the San Francisco 49ers. But right now, they're in great shape. Right now, they are in great shape, 4-2 on the season. Get a win last night against a Ram team without a quarterback, and struggling right now. So right now, the San Francisco 49ers are second in that NFC West division, right behind the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals have a 4-1 record. The Rams, the 49ers have a 4-2 record, so they're right there. And I think Arizona beat them earlier this year. That's one of their losses. I like this 49er team. Just too much talent. Anquan Bolden looks rejuvenated, playing fantastic, catching balls left and right. He looks great. Brandon Lloyd last night caught the 80-yard bomb. And that's a guy who I can't figure out why he's bounced around so much, because he makes some of the most acrobatic catches since Lynn Swann. But he's been on like 3 or 4 teams. He's one of the fastest guys on the field. I think they mentioned last night that he was the fastest guy on their offense. So what is it with Brandon Lloyd? Why can't he get any love? Why isn't he's a great player. He catches the ball with his hands, as evidenced last night. So I can't figure out why Brandon Lloyd didn't get more love than he does on the national scene. Frank Gore running that ball, 16 carries, 38 yards. Colin Kaepernick, as I mentioned, 22 for 36, 343 yards. So good win. Very good win last night for the San Francisco 49ers. And if you didn't know, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, if you didn't listen to us back in the day and didn't know, my little cousin, Bruce Ellington, plays for the San Francisco 49ers. That's right. He's number 10. Played for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Drafted in the 3rd round. And so he's a great receiver. But right now they got like a logjam at receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, they got like Stevie Johnson, who got nicked up a little bit last night. They got Anquan Bolden. They got Brandon Lloyd, as I just talked about, Michael Crabtree. So right now, Little Cuz is fighting to try to crack the lineup and get some snaps. But watch out for Bruce Ellington, and he's also the cousin of Andre Ellington, another Little Cuz of the Stews, all right, from the big city of Moncks, South Carolina. So very proud of those guys. Andre plays running back for the Arizona Cardinals and really doing big things in his second year in the league. So, yeah, check out family. Got another little cousin that's actually playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Michael Jenkins. So keep your eye out for him. He's going to be doing big things this year. So, yeah, them boys taking it to the next level. Andre's going to be like a Pro Bowler. Got all 5'9", 190 pounds of him, and he's small. I mean, he is small, so he's much younger. Obviously, these guys are much younger than me, so I didn't really know them growing up. Met them, had some talks with them over the last couple of years, ever since they started making their name in the game of football. And so, first time I met them, these guys are like really, really small, but these guys are tough like leather. Yes! They're very tough like leather. And so very proud of those guys, man. All right, when we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about Jameis Winston. We're talking about scandal in sports. I'll be talking about some of the scandals in college football today. And I'll give you my top 5 college football scandals later on as well. And then we're also talking about guilty pleasures. What's your guilty pleasure? Like, what you not going to give up? You don't care what people say. You don't care what people say. You're not going to give it up. For me, it's Big Macs. And I've eaten over 1,000 of them in my life. And I'll probably end up eating another 1,000 of them. And guess what? They went through their processing plant, and the beef is 100% all beef. I mean, good-looking beef. Good-looking beef. So check out that video on my Twitter page or on my Facebook page and see what I'm talking about. Feel better about your fast food experience. Yeah, provided by The Doug Stewart Show. Don't go anywhere.
What is 9/11 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers in compromise or penalty abatements. 9/11 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So don't play around. Click on the link on my website and let 9/11 Tax Relief help you in your situation with our uncle, better known as Sam. So you think you're a fantasy whiz, huh? Well, prove it and make some nice scratch at the same time. Scratch is money. What do you know about FanDuel? FanDuel packs the thrill of a whole season in 1 week. Play in 1 week fantasy football leagues for free money with immediate cash payouts. The money is real with no season-long commitment. That's huge because when your team starts to suck, you don't want to play no more. It's no more fun. Trade everybody. I've been there. You play win and how much you want. Deposit now and FanDuel will match it up to $200. Use the promo code COOLER, that's COOLER, and take advantage of free loot to get your game on. FanDuel, where every week is a new season. I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl." Well, get with the times with your long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedugstewartshow.com or the link on the DugStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house.
against lame-ass sports talk. The Doug Stewart Show.
This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, thank you for passing the word and spreading the joy of the Doug Stewart Show. Need you to tell at least 8 people. Yes, tell 8 people about the livest, most interactive sports talk show in America. You can email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. You can also hit me on phone lines at 404-382-0338. That's 404-382-0338. And this segment is brought to you by 911 Tax Relief. Get Uncle Sam off your back. Yeah. If you've ever been in that position before, it's not fun. It's not fun. Now, I've never really been into that particular position, but I had some warning shots fired. Yeah, had to get to Uncle Sam some information in a quick, timely manner, and I did it. So if you're knee-deep with Uncle Sam, check out their banner link on my page, TheDougStewartShow.com, and handle that situation. All right, this is a Top 5 Tuesday. We're talking about the top 5 scandals in sports. A little bit later in today's show, I'm going to give you my top 5 list. But in the meantime, I'm kind of giving you some honorable mentions. How about when Butch Davis was fired from North Carolina? An NCAA notice of allegations involving alleged academic misconduct, players receiving improper benefits led to Davis' dismissal. 14 players missed at least one game after the probe began in 2010. And you remember when Butch Davis went there, he was supposed to be the guy to take North Carolina football to the next level. Because, North Carolina's a basketball school. They really don't care about college football. You ask most college football fans. But Butch Davis, with his pedigree and being at the University of Miami, he was going to come there and make everything right. Not so much. And a lot of people forget about the kind of shroud of scandal that Butch Davis left under. And a lot of these stories we're talking about, we're kind of forgetting about, how these guys left these schools and the circumstances that they're under. So we're talking about that today, and also talking about guilty pleasures. From Vernon Ricks, he says, I can't give up bear, not going to do it. I can't give it up. That's what Vernon says as far as his guilty pleasure. From Kevin, he says, Reese's Cups and Kit Kats are 2 things I will never give up. I'm with you on that. I already told you. And really all this culminates to is I'm just going to enjoy life and good food. I am. And I'm not giving up Big Macs. I'm not giving up Kit Kats. I'm not a big Reese's Cup fan, but I'm not giving up Kit Kats. It's just no way I'm going to do it. From Griff, he says, I'm still down with cereal on occasion. Griff, my man, and I don't know if that's my boy Griffy2K, comedian extraordinaire. I have about 6 to 7 boxes of cereal at all times in my cupboard. Yes! Yes! I will never give up cereal. Right now, if you go look in my cabinet, in my pantry, you will find some Captain Crunch with the Crunch Berries. You will also find some honeycombs. You will find some Cookie Crisp. You will find some traditional Frosted Flakes. You will find just some basic Corn Flakes. Yes, because I like an array of Corn Flakes and cereals. So that's never going to change. And I know you say, man, you're 45 years old. But guess what, though? If I take my shirt off, and this is not a lie, if I take my shirt off, you'll be like, that's groundkeeper Willie from The Simpsons. Yes, I am in great physical shape, all right? And I am, and I say it all the time. I'm 45, but I can kick most 25 years old asses. I can. Yes, and so I'm in great shape, knock on wood. Thank God for being in good health. And so, yeah, I eat cereal. I eat a lot of little crappy stuff like that, like cereal. I got to have it. Why not? I mean, live a little. If you like to eat a little bit of cereal, go ahead and eat you a little bit of cereal. Why not? Why not? And I absolutely love cereal. Like, I can see me and my brother right now, damn near naked, butt-ass naked, in the kitchen on Saturday morning. I don't know how y'all did it in y'all house, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I don't know how y'all did it in y'all house, but the way it used to work back in the day, and if you're under the age of 25, you may not even know about this because now cartoons are easily accessible. But back in the day, in the 70s, okay, when I grew up, cartoons only came on one time a week, and that was Saturday morning. All right. So me and my brother had a routine in our drawers. We would get up at about 7 o'clock, start watching cartoons, and we get us a big ass bowl of cereal. All right. So we do that. We watch cartoons from like 7 to 10. Our parents would sleep late on Saturday. Our mama would get up and she'd cook a real breakfast. So we had basically like cereal breakfast and then we had a real breakfast. We had breakfast twice on Saturday mornings. And so I'm a big fan of cereal. Never going to give it up. That may be even one of my a bigger guilty pleasure for me than the Big Macs. It's cereal. Because I eat cereal probably 4 times a week. Every morning. Yeah. It is what it is. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. The Puppet Factory has learned that after the teams, and we're talking about Florida State, 38-28 win Saturday against Syracuse, Jimbo Fisher approached Jameis Winston and asked him if he had signed autographs for money. And he told him no. Of course he didn't. Yeah. And if you haven't heard, ESPN is saying that they've done some investigative work, and Jameis Winston has signed all these autographs on all these different mini helmets and cleats and whatever, and they've been verified and certified, here goes that word, authenticated as being Jameis Winston's signature. Now, it's more than 600 things they're saying. It's over 600 things. Now, do we really think, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, do we really think Jameis Winston signed over 600 things and didn't get paid for it? Of course not. But clearly, if they haven't taken him off the field and if they haven't suspended him, much like Georgia did last week, there's nothing. They don't have anything on him, okay? They clearly don't have anything on him. Now, it's kind of, this conversation is kind of tricky because I think Jameis Winston is doing a lot of dumb things. He's putting himself in a real situation here with all these different things that come about with him. And he just can't stay clear of trouble. So on one part of me says, come on, dude, just get it together. Just keep it together for another year. You're probably going to be the number 1 pick in the draft if you just keep your nose clean. But then the other part of me is saying, if this dude can sign these autographs and get a couple of dollars, I got no problem with it. So I'm kind of torn on this subject. And today's subject is scandal and all the scandal going on in college football. And I'm talking about the top 5 college football scandals of all time. So I'm kind of split on this subject. Like, dude, really? Why don't you just hang loose for a minute? Just hang out. And then the other part of me be like, they pimping you, so you might as well get a little taste too. And that's exactly what it seems like he's done. I mean, clearly he didn't tell them to write a check. After what happened last year with Johnny Manziel, I'm sure he made sure that there were no camera phones in the room or whatever where he did receive such cash, said cash or whatever. So, and the same thing with Todd Gurley, which we'll get a little bit more into in the next segment. But yeah, I'm not mad. I'm mad, but I'm not mad, because it is what it is. They've been pimping these kids for over 100 years. And the pimpology is just out of control. So I'm not mad at these kids for trying to profit. Yeah, let's just keep it real and call it what it is. I'm not mad at these kids for trying to profit off their likeness, off their brand. I don't have any problem with that at all. James Spence Authentication certified more than 500 autographs of Todd Gurley, and this is the same guy that authenticated all these signatures from Jameis Winston. So, and one thing about this story, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, that I found very interesting and almost enlightening, is that Jimbo Fisher's sticking by this kid. And if you saw the comments made this morning on the Puppet Factory, he basically said that, he believes him. He's going to stand by him. He told him no, and that's it. And he also reiterated something that we always say on this show, is that it should be innocent until proven guilty. Now, that's pretty much been thrown out of the window over the last couple of months in particular with all these scandals going on in the NFL. But it should always be innocent until proven guilty. And it's almost like the way it works now is the exact opposite. You're guilty, and we need to figure out a way to prove you innocent. And in the meantime, we're going to suspend you. Or you're going to be on probation or this, that, and the other. And so that was kind of refreshing. And he's kind of taking a lot of flack from these investigative reporters and the media. They're kind of insinuating that he shouldn't take this stance and he shouldn't be so much behind his kid. And that's the exact opposite the way most athletes and most players feel. See, this is going to get Jimbo Fisher a lot of points from incoming players, from recruits. Because what he's doing now is standing by his player. And now later, if they find out and they have conclusive evidence that dude, technically it's cheating and taking these benefits, then, Jimbo Fisher's probably going to have a different tune. And that's understandable. But right now, his kid told him that he didn't take money, which clearly he did. But he told him that he didn't take money. They don't have any proof that he took money. And Jimbo Fisher's sticking by his player. And that's a good thing. And I like that. And that's going to go a long way to getting the best 4 and 5-star recruits in the country. I'm telling you. And nobody wants to get thrown under the bus, especially these players who have all types of options. Jimbo Fisher's probably reflecting on him going into that kid's living room and telling his mama that he wants him to come play for Florida State and that he's going to take care of him. And he probably had all these off-the-record conversations about how he's going to be a mentor and he's going to be almost like a father figure away from home. So you can't just throw him under the bus, Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I guess Jimbo Fisher's saying right now he doesn't have enough smoke. There's not enough fire to turn on Jameis Winston at this point. And he stuck by him. He stuck by him in an array of different things that have come up with Jameis Winston. So you got to give him credit for that, in my opinion. And I say it all the time. A lot of these opinions that I'm going to have are going to come from the perspective of athletes. Not so much the media. Yeah, not so much. Technically, I'm the media, but yeah, I'm going to give you the perspective from the common dude, from the former athlete, and where their mindset is. So that's what you're going to get on this show, the Doug Stewart Show, the realest, trillest show in America. What are your thoughts on Jameis Winston? Is he just an idiot? Do you have a problem with him and what he's done, allegedly? And so I want to get your thoughts on that. When we get back from the break, we'll continue to talk about the scandal in college football, the latest on Todd Gurley, running back for the Georgia Bulldogs. And we'll talk about that and what's going on with him and all your phone calls. I'll read more of your chat, more of your tweets. We'll do it like that. All right? That's how we're going to do it. Don't go away. It's the Doug Stewart Show.
What is 9/11 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers in compromise or penalty abatements. 9/11 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So don't play around. Click on the link on my website and let 9/11 Tax Relief help you in your situation with our uncle, better known as Sam. I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl." Well, get with the times with the long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougstewartshow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on the DougStewartShow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boat. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Yes!
The personal ass kicker of Skip Bayless, Doug Stewart.
That's right. You are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you for telling people. Thank you for telling at least 8 people a day. If you tell 8 people a day, we will rule the world in sports talk radio. Yes! So tell 8 people about the livest, the most fun, the most interactive sports talk show in America, the Doug Stewart Show. Coming to you live from the ATL. And give me a call at 404-382-0338. We're talking about guilty pleasures, and we're also talking about scandal in sports. I'm going to give you my top 5 college football scandals a little bit later in today's show. So we're doing that, having some fun with that. And also we're going to talk to the great Takeo Spikes. He's going to come on the show and talk a little bit about what he's got going on. He's doing some analyst work from what I understand. Great Auburn Tiger linebacker, played for several teams in the NFL. I think Takeo played in the league for like 15 years. Just a beast. The man was born to play football, though. If you've ever seen him and you've seen his neck, you can tell this dude was born to play the sport of football. So we'll get some commentary from Takeo a little bit later today and have some fun with that. All right, you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and this segment is brought to you by 911 Tax Relief. Get Uncle Sam off your back. So check out their banner link on my webpage, thedougstewartshow.com. And, don't worry about Uncle Sam. And we're also brought to you by AmeriCommerce. All you need to get your online store off the ground right, AmeriCommerce. Make sure you check out my webpage, thedougstewartshow.com, my website, thedougstewartshow.com, and find out about these great companies that I'm partnering up with. And speaking of partnering up with, would your company like to partner up with the Doug Stewart Show? We would love to partner with you. We love to talk about your brand and your company and your product and get your information out there. So if you are, and you do, you can email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com and let's do some business. So we're talking about scandal in sports. We just talked a little bit about what's going on, the latest on Jameis Winston and his scandal. And so it seems like that's been the theme for the last couple of months, especially in the NFL. How about this? You remember when Colorado used to be the bomb? You remember when Colorado, I think they tied, or they were in a tie as far as voting with Georgia Tech in the national championship in 1990, and Gary Barnett had it going on? Colorado was the lick. You remember Eric Public Bieniemy? And I saw Eric Bieniemy on the sideline. I think maybe it was for the Chiefs, a little 5'8" running back. Eric Public Bieniemy. Colorado had those cool-ass uniforms, I think Colorado might be one of the first teams that started the trend for all of these teams incorporating black into their uniform in college football and all of these alternate uniforms that these schools come out with. Because Colorado uniform, they were cool. They were kind of like rebels, bad boys back in the day. So Eric Public Bieniemy, I saw him on the sideline the other day coaching, and I think it was for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Eric Bieniemy's, obviously he didn't grow any, so he's still 5'8" in height, and he's like 240 pounds. And I think he's one of my frat brothers as well. Shouts out to the Qs. But it was just interesting to see him on the sideline, and the fact that, man, that was probably okay. So if he played for the team in 1990, You're talking 24 years ago. So 25 years hadn't done Eric Bieniemy justice. But anyway, the point is Gary Barnett, he was forced to resign in 2005 after it was learned his recruiting tactics include providing sex, drugs, and alcohol to recruits. His bitter end was foreshadowed by suspension in 2004 for making derogatory comments after kicker Katie Nida had alleged she had been raped by a Buffalo player. Yes, you remember that? They had the female kicker. So the Colorado scandal, I guess you would call it, that's one of the honorable mentions in college football. And they had always talked about how he used to go, and the program used to go get these players from Compton, and these players were affiliated with the Crips and the Bloods, but they could play football. Yeah, they were great football players. And so Colorado used to go get them. Because think about it, it's almost like, and once again, I'm not trying to throw shade on Ole Miss and Mississippi State, but Ole Miss in particular. You have traditional college powers. And because of that tradition, and because of legacy, and because they're big money programs, usually the trend is that trend will continue. Okay, and you're going to continue to get the best players. And so that's why every year, traditionally, it's the same 15 college football programs that are vying for a national championship. So, it's always Notre Dame. Not so much these days, but you know what I'm saying. So it's always Notre Dame, and it's Oklahoma, and it's Texas, and it's Michigan, and it's, who else you can think of? Whatever you can think of. Ohio State, and teams like that are always in the running for a national championship because their history is so big, it lends itself to recruiting because kids want to go play, in a 100,000 plus seated stadium at Ohio State or Michigan or Tennessee or whatever. Tennessee's kind of fallen off, but you get the point I'm trying to make. So when a team like Colorado comes from nowhere, that doesn't have the history and doesn't have the facilities of some of these bigger programs, it's kind of suspect. And so that's where the NCAA, they start poking their nose in there. And I think, book this in your memory bank. I think that there probably already boots on the ground in Ole Miss, okay, in Oxford, Mississippi. They're probably already boots on the ground because they've been getting just 4- and 5-star recruit left and right. You know about the Kimdichie kid from Georgia, and the defensive tackle from Georgia that went all the way out there to play with his brother at Ole Miss. So I'm not saying they cheating, that Hugh Freeze and those guys are cheating at Ole Miss, but it's very suspect. It's very suspect. So remember, you heard that here from the Doug Stewart Show. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Todd Gurley was back at practice for Georgia on Monday, even though he hasn't been cleared to play. All right, Gurley remains on indefinite suspension while Georgia investigates possible violations of NCAA rules. He was held out of the Bulldogs' 34-0 win at Missouri on Saturday, but was back for practice in full pads. So that's the facts. He's back, and what that means, and what that's simply saying is Georgia feels a little bit more confident that, not that he didn't take money, that no one can prove he didn't take money for his autographs. And that's the way it looks. Because if they suspended him, I guess they wanted to do their due diligence and make sure, cross all their T's, dot all their I's, that, he didn't take money. And once again, I'm not saying that they feel like that he didn't take money, but I think they feel a little bit more confident in letting him come back to practice. And I guess this story is still developing, and at some point he's going to be able to come back and play football. I just think they feel more confident. What this says to me, as a casual observer, what this says to me is they feel more confident that they can't prove, and that no one can prove that he took money for his autographs and for the autograph memorabilia signing. Yeah, that's what it appears to be to me. So we're going to get more information on this and talking about all these scandals in sports. So we're having some fun with that. let's talk about some college football scandals. What's a scandal that you can remember from college football? And also at the same time, your guilty pleasures. What are some of your guilty pleasures that you are just not going to give up? I mentioned earlier how I read this story and McDonald's coming out with this campaign where, people always question fast food, and not just in particular McDonald's, but fast food in general and what's in it and what's in the beef and this, that, and the other. And so McDonald's really eased my mind. They have a video out that you can check out on my page, and they show their processing plant, and they show the actual meat, and they show the process of freezing it, and it's beef. It's good beef. And then also I found out that another one of my guilty pleasures, more so probably even than Big Macs, is cereal. I got like 6 or 7 boxes of cereal upstairs. I always keep an array of cereal in my pantry because that's what I do. Yeah, this is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining you, folk. I really do appreciate you. And who do we got on the line here? We don't have a name up, but let's go ahead and grab the caller. Caller, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What you got?
Hey, Stu was talking about these powerhouses back in the day, and there was the Pitt Panthers back in the day when you had Gasset running that ball, which is no longer one of your more perennial big time schools anymore. But more importantly, SMU was a powerhouse back in the day.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to chime in and see what his thoughts were on why these schools have fallen off and hadn't necessarily been able to evolve back into the big mainstream or big time.
Hey, is this my boy Hines? Okay, we lost him. We lost him off the line, but I think that was my boy Hines, and he obviously the number one sports scandal of all time. And he mentioned it, SMU and the Pony Express. And obviously, that's going to be number one. So I'm going to give that later. I mean, it's not hard to guess what scandal is going to be number one. But, yeah, SMU, the whole death penalty that they received, if you saw the 30 for 30 on that, very intriguing stuff on how that all went down. And Craig James and Eric Dickerson and these players and all of the debauchery that was going on at Southern Methodist University. And how it went on for so long and how they were so blatant about it. So, yeah, he kind of spoiled it a little bit, but definitely that's the number one college football scandal of all times. And it was a scandal. I mean, it was a huge scandal and still stands to the greatest scandal of all time. And I don't think we'll ever see another team receive the death penalty because it just crippled them. They're still not the same today. And we're talking about almost 30 years later. SMU's program will never be the same. It'll never be the same because it was just tremendous. And it was so blatant. And if you saw the 30 for 30, these guys were arrogant about how they paid players. Yes, they were very arrogant about it. So, yeah, that's definitely the number one sports college football scandal of all time. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about today, scandals in sports. And we're also talking about your guilty pleasure. Off of a whim, a Dougie Daily question, your guilty pleasure. Having some fun with that too. Don't go away. When we get back from the break, we're going to talk about the Monday Night Football game last night between the Rams and the 49ers. And obviously the 49ers get it done. We'll talk a little bit about it and get your thoughts on that. Read your tweets, your chat, and Spreaker.com. We'll do all of that. All right? Don't go away. Keep it locked. It's the Doug Stewart Show.
So you think you're a fantasy whiz, huh? Well, prove it and make some nice scratch at the same time. Scratch is money. What do you know about FanDuel? FanDuel packs the thrill of a whole season in 1 week. Play in 1 week fantasy football leagues for free money with immediate cash payouts. The money is real with no season-long commitment. That's huge because when your team starts to suck, you don't want to play no more. It's no more fun. Trade everybody. I've been there. You play when and how much you want. Deposit now and FanDuel will match it up to $200. Use the promo code COOLER, that's COOLER, and take advantage of free loot to get your game on. FanDuel, where every week is a new season. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk dudes in America? By the way, I'm talking about myself. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty, people know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boy. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. What is 911 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers in compromise or penalty abatements. 911 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you so they can get you the best possible settlements or solutions to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've also helped thousands of people, thousands, solve their tax problems. So don't play around. Click on their link on my website, thedugstewartshow.com, and let 911 Tax Relief help you in your situation with our uncle. You know, Uncle Sam.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank
So
you
you
so
think you're
much
a
for
fantasy
joining your
whiz,
boy. I
huh?
really do appreciate it. You can hit me up at 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show. You can also email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. I do a company out there that wants to work with the Doug Stewart Show and partner with us. You need to do it! Yes! Because we're doing big things around here. We are doing huge things around here, man. This is the 4th week of the show. It's going fantastic. I didn't look at the number. I think the last number I saw, we are like over 15,000 listens, and that's just on Spreaker. That's not even counting the numbers from the Doug Stewart Show, the apps. So we're out there. We out here. We out here. Yes, we are out here. So hit your boy up on the email, doug@thedugstewartshow.com, if you're an owner, manager, and think that a partnership with the Doug Stewart Show would be beneficial to your company. All right, 404-382-0338. In about 15 minutes, we're going to talk to Takeo Spikes, former NFL linebacker. Dude was born to play football, so we'll talk to him. And we're also talking about your guilty pleasures, whatever that may be. Mine are Big Macs and cereal. Real cereal. Not no brand or no healthy stinking cereal. Real cereal. Like Captain Crunch and Honeycomb, which probably is my all-time favorite. Honeycomb is just tremendous. Cookie Crisp. I'll even go Cookie Crisp on you. Yes. Kaboom. You remember Kaboom with the clown? Maybe that's where I get my fear of clowns from. Yeah. So whatever your guilty pleasures are, we're talking about that today and having a little fun with that. Here's some chat from Kevin, and you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. He says, can you imagine seeing Eric Dickerson driving the street in a pimped-out gold Trans Am with his Jerry curl streaming out the window? Yes, I can, because that's allegedly what was going on. And I don't know why it is that back then in the 80s, every great college recruit got a gold Trans Am. I don't know why it is, but that's always the story. And I know, and I've heard stories, not from my hometown in particular, but from the next town over, whose colors were green and yellow. Allegedly, a couple of their players received gold Trans Ams. Yes, I remember specifically so-and-so, maybe I'm just being a little facetious with the color, but yeah, a couple of these players over at the next school over, whose colors were green and yellow, and whose name rhymed with Dave. Yeah, some of their great players back in the early 80s received Trans Ams to go play college football. And so evidently, Eric Dickerson was a trendsetter with that. From Fred Mack, he says, after watching a football life, I have a greater respect for Eric Dickerson. he was the man. I have not seen The Football Life of Eric Dickerson. I do have it saved on my DVR, so I got to get to that. From Fred Mack says, did Mickey D show how they make their nuggets? On this particular video I watched, they didn't show how they make their nuggets, but in a subsequent video, they answered the question about, is it all chicken? Is it chicken parts, this, that, and the other? No, it's 100% chicken. Chill out. Don't worry about it. From Chucktown Frank, biggest scandal in the SEC, enrolling players that can't spell SAT. Yeah. And that's always going to be an issue. And I was reading, doing some research this morning, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And they, this was before I started researching college football scandals. And one story I came across reminded me about what happened with Derrick Rose. You do know that it was proven that Derrick Rose actually didn't take his SAT, right? Yeah. We kind of forget about these things. But Derrick Rose, I don't know if he did it or someone affiliated, a booster or whatever from Memphis, the Memphis program. Derrick Rose never took his damn SAT. No, he didn't take his SAT. They verified that. So they got stripped of all those wins, okay? All those wins were pulled from the era of Memphis basketball when Derrick Rose was there. Yeah, it's crazy. How about this? And speaking of South Carolina and the SEC and scandal, you remember this? If you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, defensive lineman Tommy Chaikin co-wrote a Sports Illustrated article that detailed his use of steroids while playing for the Gamecocks in the 80s. That led to 3 coaches pleading guilty to charges of providing PEDs to their players. Yet none of this was an NCAA violation at the time. So if you remember that story, you can Google it, obviously, and get all the details of that. Carolina had to have it. Yeah, they were supplying players with PEDs. The coaches were supplying the players with PEDs. And you think about how scandalous some of this stuff we're talking about, and it couldn't happen in this day and time because it would be blown up, 1,000 times bigger than what it was back then because of social media. Yes, and a lot of social media, the extent of social media is really highlighting these stories even more so than back in the day. So can you imagine the story of the Baylor player, the basketball player, when his teammates killed him, one of his teammates killed him? I don't remember his name right now, but can you imagine? And that was kind of in the era of social media, but not to the degree that it is now. Right now, social media is just incredible how big Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and all of these different formats are, and how much it's affected how they report and how we report and the news breaking in sports today. And so, yeah, that's what we're talking about today, scandal in sports. 404-382-0338. Can you imagine a story breaking now that there's proof that an assistant coach was supplying his players with steroids? Can you think? I mean, just think about that. Just think about how they're blowing up this autograph stuff, and how it's front page news. Compare that to a coach, say the defensive or offensive coordinator supplying his players with roids. Yes. So it's a different day and time right now, man. It's definitely a different day and time. And just very interesting. I'm gonna get Takeo's thoughts on what's going on right now with these kids taking this money allegedly for autographs and memorabilia, and also get his thoughts on some of the scandals going on in the NFL. Speaking of NFL, last night Colin Kaepernick threw 3 TDs, threw for over 300 yards. As the San Francisco 49ers beat the St. Louis Rams 31-17. 49ers are now 4-2 on the year, 2-1 away from San Francisco. And the Rams are 1-4. They're 1-4, 0-3 at home. And so they go down last night. And I remember a lot of conversation about the quarterback that came in there last night, Austin Davis. This was a guy that broke all of Brett Favre's records at Southern Miss. He looked good very early in the game, but a little bit later in the game, you saw why he was on the street a couple of years ago. He actually came into camp as the fourth stringer at quarterback. And because of these injuries and the situation going on with the St. Louis Rams, it's not turning out good. And Jeff Fisher is struggling right now. And everybody thinks Jeff Fisher's this great coach, this fantastic coach. But he's struggling right now. And it's going to take a minute. I think this might be Fisher's second year with the Rams. It's going to take a minute. He lost his quarterback, who I don't think is that good of a player anyway, to injury for the entire season. So Rams go down last night, 49-17. And then add on top of that, there's been discussion over the last couple of weeks about moving teams to L.A. And at the top of the list is the St. Louis Rams, who were in L.A. at one time. It's kind of confusing. The Rams, the Rams were in Los Angeles, and now they're in St. Louis, and so they might go back again. So very, very confusing. And St. Louis had the Cardinals, and Cardinals left for Arizona, and don't look like they're coming back. So very confusing. But, yeah, it looks like the Rams are at the top of that list for a team that may be leaving and maybe putting a franchise in L.A. And I think that's a good thing. No disrespect to the Rams fans. Hell, you guys got a Super Bowl. You went to 2 Super Bowls, lost 1. But, yeah, the Rams had a great run. Great run. The organization has been great to the city of St. Louis. They have been. But it looks like they might be pulling up their stakes and heading west. And, it's just ridiculous that the NFL doesn't have a team in a major market like Los Angeles, the number 2 market in this country behind New York City. And so it looks like that they're trying to do that. And I think it'll be a good thing for football in general. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show, still reading your messages on the chat line on Spreaker.com. Also reading your Twitter post, talking college football, talking scandal. I'll give you my top 5 college football scandals a little bit later in today's show. But when we get back, we're going to talk to Takeo Spikes and continue to have fun. Don't go away. It's Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce. It's the Doug Stewart Show.
I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl." Well, get with the times with the long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60-plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougsstewartshow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. I'll let you both. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Yes! I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance on that phone running up my bill With that old hussy? Well, get with the times with your long-distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60-plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougstewartshow.com or the link on the dougstewartshow.com app. Try out Univon and call your people like you not at your mama house. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much, much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details.
This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thanks for joining you, folk. I really do appreciate it. Yes. October 14th, 2014. And this is a Top 5 Tuesday. We're talking about the top 5 scandals in sports and having some fun with that. We're also talking college football with those scandals. And we're also talking about Monday Night Football. Anything you really want to talk about. Guilty pleasures. What's your guilty pleasure? What won't you give up? I will never. I don't care what kind of studies they do on it. I will never give up fast food, and I will never, in particular, give up Big Macs. And I won't give up cereal either. The sweet kid cereal. Yeah, I'm almost 45 years old. But when I finish this show, I'm probably going to have me a big-ass bowl of honeycomb. Yeah! Yes. This is the Doug Stewart Show, and we're brought to you. This segment is brought to you by FanDuel. One-day fantasy sports for as low as $1. As low as $1. You can't beat that. That's right. This is the Doug Stewart Show. All right. Hold the lines. We will grab your calls. We will also read your texts and your chat on Spreaker. But right now, joining me on the Doug Stewart Show is former Auburn linebacker and NFL great Takeo Spikes. Spikes, how you doing?
Spikes is good. Thank you for having me with you, brother.
Man, I am fantastic, Spikes. How you doing, man?
Well, you know what? It's been a busy year. Finally retired and took a job with NBC Sports as an analyst, studio analyst for NBC Sports, and also have a radio show like you. Sirius Satellite on Saturdays from 7 to 11. The show is called The End Zone. So that's pretty much it, man. Just bumping my gum.
Wow.
Some balls all the time.
Wow. Talking to Takeo Spikes right now on the Doug Stewart Show. So, Spikes, you called it a career. When did you actually call it a career? Was it the start of this season or the start of last season? I'm not sure.
The start of last season.
Okay.
That's when I finally called it quit.
Now, Spikes, how do you feel? I mean, do you miss the sport? You played in the league for a long time. Obviously, you played high school football and college, so you've been at that thing for a long time. Do you miss it?
Yeah, I mean, that's, to be honest with you, Doug, that's an understatement. I miss it dearly. I miss I don't miss so much of playing because I felt like I did everything I was supposed to do, with the time that I did have. But I truly do miss the times of being around the guys. You hear the camaraderie. That's more than ever. And then it's even the little things that, you take for granted from being in a locker room amongst a bunch of guys. And even though it's a grind for at least 6 months, every day is different because every guy comes in the locker room with a new problem.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it's entertaining. It's entertaining to hear them talk about different stuff, whether or not it's their wife, They come home, they're like, man, my wife got another damn box on the porch from Zappos or from Amazon,
Right.
ordering stuff. You know what I mean? So it's good, but that's what I miss most, being able to really say what you want to say, and then people understanding with the culture of the locker room that it's nothing from a malice intent. Everything is straight from the love and from the heart.
Talking to Takeo Spikes right now on the Doug Stewart Show. Obviously, your Auburn Tigers had a real tough loss this past weekend, 38-23. But kind of the good news about that, though, is y'all spotted them 21 points, and you only dropped the number 6 in the polls. Talk about the Tigers, man, and Nick Marshall and that ball club and their chances this year to try to make a run for a national championship.
I still think we have an opportunity. Our opportunity is golden. And I'll be honest with you, Doug, it's a few ways that you can look at this. And as much as I try not to look at it from a biased situation, I believe that we should have won that game from the aspect of coming out, spotting those guys 21 points. But the first two turnovers,
right,
when you're on the road, playing against in a hostile environment to where these guys was pretty much waiting on momentum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the momentum was there, but they were just waiting to see if they really could play. So from that aspect, I feel good about. But another aspect that even though we lost the game, I'm happy that it happened so early, and it teaches a great lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that from this point forward, you cannot go on the road or play against any championship team and afford 2 turnovers as far as your first 2 plays. You can't do it.
Yeah, you can never have turnovers, and I mean, history has shown us a team with +2 or the higher you go, number of turnovers usually loses the game. We're talking to Takeo Spikes right now on the Doug Stewart Show. Spikes, of your pro teams, and you played for what, 5 teams in the NFL?
5 teams. Yeah, I played for 5 teams.
Of those 5 teams, is any of those teams? Are you still in contact with any of them more so than the other team, or not so much?
You know what? I pretty much keep in contact with all of the teams. Earlier this year in the summertime, me working with Sirius, I covered the Cincinnati Bengals. I went to their training camp, had an opportunity to talk with a lot of the guys, and even with the management. Most of the management is still the same. Buffalo is always. Actually, I'm going to Buffalo this weekend to cover their game, to lead the charge for the Buffalo Bills playing against the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Philly is more so. I just kind of keep in contact with phone calls. San Francisco. I went out there earlier this year when they played the Chicago Bears in San Diego. All of my contacts are still intact there. So I pretty much stay well-rounded because, as you know, which I really didn't know at the time because I was playing. When you do good by people, people will do good by you. And
right.
Now that I'm in my second career transition, it works out good for me because I'm able to get great insight and info that the majority of people can't get.
Finishing up with Takeo Spikes right now with the Doug Stewart Show. All right, so 2 questions, and it's kind of off the field. Obviously, you've seen what's been going on with this stuff with Todd Gurley and Jameis Winston, and these players, Johnny Manziel last year, these players seem like they're trying to get it, that they are much more adept to taking a benefit or whatever from whoever that's trying to give it to them as opposed to back in the day. What do you think long-term is going to happen with these players receiving these illegal benefits? And my thought is quickly is, I feel like the NCAA has been pimping these players for a long time, and something's going to change. It's going to have to change fast. What are your thoughts on the atmosphere of college football and illegal benefits?
Well, I felt the same way over time, even going all the way back when I was in school. I think that was when the first era came, going back to when video games really made players popular,
mm-hmm.
and the game of football itself. And I think it drew more of an interest. At that time, the money was not near as what it is now. So that's why it's so out of hand. So to really answer your question, I think that the NCAA has been pretty much just pimping the athletes out. And now it's come to a point to where the money is so big in collegiate football you know, whether you're a hater or not, you have to ask yourself this question. If a school can take Jameis Winston, football jersey number, and his likeness, and advertise it to promote beneficial funds for their gain and their prosperity, but he can't do anything to benefit off of his name, that's not right.
It's not right.
I mean, that's not right. When you're making millions of dollars. You're making millions. So, and the tough part is that how do you resolve it? Because I understand as a student athlete, if you are allowed an allowance of somewhat, you're kind of opening up Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's hard to be able to control all channels of revenue, whether or not if it's a stipend or anything, however you're going to call it, being able to go to that student athlete. That's the problem.
Right. All right. Finishing up with Takeo Spikes right now on the Doug Stewart Show. Spikes, a lot of players have been getting in trouble in the NFL. The owners are actually meeting, talking about the extent of Roger Goodell's power in mediating these different instances of what's been going on as far as players getting in trouble off the field. What do you think is going to happen with these stories and the fact that these players keep getting in trouble, man, and now there's a bigger magnifying glass on it because of the day and times we live in? What are your thoughts on all of this stuff going on in the league?
It's sad. It's unfortunate. Some of the things that I've seen that's been conducted by the players, I don't condone it at all. I think it's not who's right and who's wrong. It's what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
And, I mean, that's the obvious. But it is a sensitive subject to me because I even took time out of my day to develop a Facebook page and create my first post talking about this. Facebook is Takeo Spikes, so please, all the listeners, when you get a chance, take time and look at it. But basically, it's not cool to be a football player anymore because I think because of the image that's been painted, whether it's right or wrong. One thing that I do want to say, though, is that I'm pretty sure that the rules that have been made, the conduct rules for the NFL, are outdated. I will say that. And I think that they do need to come together and find a way to make this close to black and white as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But dealing on my post, what I talked about was that, you know, I don't like the picture that the majority of the guys are painted in, even though I know the majority of the guys are acting good. They're good guys.
Right.
And I think what we need to realize is that for a moment, stop living in perception and let's live in the reality of it. And what I mean by that is understanding that I was a guy who came and benefited off of football. And I was a guy who was fortunate enough to be raised by a two-parent home. I know plenty of single mothers, black and white, put their kids into sports, in particular football, because they wanted them, not because they wanted them to go to the pros,
mm-hmm.
but they wanted them to learn life lessons, understanding accountability, understanding discipline, understanding that you have to learn respect in order to make it in this world. And those life lessons that these guys have learned, young men have learned because they couldn't get it at home, that's the big point that I feel like being missed out on when people want to chastise a lot of the players and look at these certain situations that's going on, even though it's a few bad apples. So I think the life lessons, what we learn, or what we take out of it from a young perspective, before a single mom putting their kids into it, understanding that my kid won't be able to make it in this world if he does not learn these lessons. So that's one of the things that I talked about in my blog on Facebook.
Awesome. Spikes, as usual, thank you so much, brother, for your time. Go ahead and shout out your Facebook and your Twitter handles right now before we let you go.
Yeah, follow me Facebook. Well, follow me on Twitter at Takeo Spikes 51. Same thing on Instagram, Takeo Spikes 51, and also on Facebook at Takeo Spikes.
Hey, that's what's up. Spikes, thank you so much for your time, man. As usual, bro, I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you down the road. There he is, Takeo Spikes right there on the Doug Stewart Show. And that dude is the realest, man. The dude was born to play football. The dude was born to play football, and some very interesting perspectives from him, a guy that played in the league for 15 years for 5 different teams, and you just don't get that anywhere. So shouts out to Takeo Spikes. We're late getting to the break, but we're going to go ahead and get to the break right now. We get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Jameis Winston. We talk a little college football, got his thoughts, his perspectives on the state of college football now and these guys and the legal benefits and what's going on in the NFL. So we'll talk about his interview and take more of your calls and read your tweets and your chat and all of that stuff. Don't go away. It's the Doug Stewart Show.
I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl." Well, get with the times with the long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on the DougStewartShow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on the DougStewartShow.com or the app link for details.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. We just talked to Takeo Spikes, former NFL linebacker, played for 5 teams. Just born to play football. Thank you so much for joining the show. The number is 404-382-0338. The email is doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Have you told 8 people about the show today? Yeah, do your boy a favor, man. Spread this love for the Doug Stewart Show to your friends and to your family. And let them know we have a good time here Monday through Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. And this segment is brought to you by Univon. Great long distance, not like you at your mama's house. And listen, man, if you're a company out there and you want to get down with this Doug Stewart Show and this crusade to take back sports talk from the lame asses, yes, email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and let's do some business, whatever you want to promote, your new product, your brand, your company, whatever. We'd love to work with you. Email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. All right. Let me read a couple of these chat messages. From King Kane, he says, guilty pleasure, does the shoe show count? We're talking about guilty pleasures, and I mentioned earlier one of my guilty pleasures is McDonald's and Big Macs and, kid cereals. Yeah, I guess a guilty pleasure would be the shoe show. And what he's talking about is, the shoe show. And that can kind of get expensive, too. But that qualifies as a guilty pleasure. From that ninja, he says, Penn State was the biggest scandal, but it wasn't about sports directly. That's true. And what he's talking about is Jerry Sandusky and the whole child molestation case from a couple of years ago. Let's see. Bring the house down. But that Penn State scandal brought the great Joe Paterno to his knees. The man went on ahead and went to glory. It had to be the way that they covered up the ordeal with Sandusky taking little boys' bookies. Yeah, that was horrible. And Jerry Sandusky's still in jail, and actually, it's almost like his trial is still pending. that probably is one of the worst stories in sports history. And it really wasn't directly tied to the game on the field, but that was just horrible. I mean, it's just horrible to even think of years after the fact. And what happened with the whole Jameis Sandusky and Penn State child molestation case. So that was horrible. So we're talking about scandals in sports. In the next segment, I'm going to give you my top 5 sports scandals or college football scandals of all time. We're talking about college football scandals. We just had Takeo Spikes on. He talked a little bit about it. And one thing Takeo said that I agree with 100%, and I don't think we talk about it enough. I kind of mentioned earlier how Jimbo Fisher, I really like the fact Jimbo Fisher's taking his player side until he has more information to the contrary, and Jameis Winston. But Takeo made a very good point, and I don't think we talk about it enough. You got to remember, man, there's 53 guys on each team in the NFL. Okay, and there's 32 teams. You do the math of how many players that is. So, yes, it seems like that all this stuff with Ray Rice and Ray McDonald and Greg Hardy and Adrian Peterson all came about at the same time. But you're talking about 6 guys, and a ton of players in the NFL that for the most part are great people and good citizens. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. It's kind of bad right now. It looks kind of bad right now, obviously, because it all hit at one time, seemingly. But for the most part, dudes are good people. These guys are good people. These guys are fun-loving fathers and citizens in this country. So you're talking about 0.5%, not even 0.5% of the players probably. That you're talking about over the last couple of months that have come under fire and in all of this trouble. You can even add Aaron Hernandez, and hell, you can add another 20 guys to it. It's probably going to be less than 0.5% as far as the population of the players in the NFL. For every Greg Hardy or for every Adrian Peterson, which these guys we're still trying to find out details on their cases and they're yet to be tried. But for every Greg Hardy or Adrian Peterson, you got a Russell Wilson or a Peyton Manning, or whoever, So these guys, man, it's just really when some of these news agencies, that's what they do is they report news, and they're going to report tantalizing, titillating news because that's what sells. When they lock into a story, you can get the image if you didn't know any better, if you didn't step back and look at the situation, that this is a very minuscule amount and percentage of players that are in trouble with the law. And these guys, for the most part, are good people, man. So just remember that. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your boy. I really do appreciate it. The number is 404-382-0338. And let's go ahead and grab a call. T from Huntsville. T, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What you got?
What's happening?
What up, T? How you doing, brother?
Man, doing good, brother, man. Loving the show as always, man. He's doing a good job.
Appreciate it.
Hey, man, keeping with the topic, man, something I'm never going to give up to anybody is fried food, more specifically fried chicken. I hate to say the stereotypes. I take that back. More specifically than that, Popeye fried chicken.
More specifically, Popeyes. Yes, I'm 100% with you on that. I don't care what kind of stereotype joke you make, because the people making the stereotypes are eating chicken too. I love the Yardbird, and that's never going to stop.
Yes, sir. Never going to stop to the day I die. And the biggest scandal to me, it's a scandal in 2 ways, because it was a scandal and it never got covered, and to me that was a scandal. The NBA refs purposely cheating and purposely going against certain players and not giving them calls.
Yes.
Now, I can't remember the referee that got caught. There was one dude that got caught. And in any situation, I mean, if it was a player, what would you say it was one guy and nobody else? Nobody else would even accept it. If one player got caught, I know everybody would have thrown other players did it. So, I mean, right off the top, he wrote a book detailing how they purposely, rigged games and went against certain players, and it was ignored by the media, it was ignored by any type of outlet to put it out there, and it had to have been true for one reason. He got convicted of a federal crime. And if he wrote any lies in that book, they could have brought him up on charges on it.
Right.
Because part of the conviction was part of the book. So everything he wrote in there was true, but it got completely ignored. So in my opinion, that was a big scandal that never even got covered.
Yeah.
And, just a little.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
And just a little side note, man, on a personal note, and on behalf of the Dawson Fools, I promise you, sir, you'd be better off eating occasional pork than eating McDonald's on a regular basis. I mean, you had a burger from the house and out of a fried skillet. You know, if you eat that and eat at McDonald's, something different is going on, sir. But for your health, for the benefit of the show, and for my own selfish reasons, because I like the show to keep going, I really like you to stop eating that on a regular basis. Eat pork, man. It'd be better for you.
Hey,
and I love the show, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And as always, I'm gone, man. I'm out here.
Hey, appreciate the call, T. But T, you must not have been listening, and you must have just started listening at the end of the show. I am never ever going to give up McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I love the Big Mac in particular. So that's never going to change, T. I don't care what you say, what any dog, any poodle says. That's not going to happen. And I stopped eating the swine almost 5 years ago now. That's not going to happen. I'm never, ever, ever going to eat pork again. I'm just not. That's just my personal opinion. And I don't even try, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I don't even try to change people's feelings about it. Even my kids, they still eat it. They still eat ribs and bacon, which I really do miss bacon. Bacon is probably the only pork product that I really, really miss, because you wake up on a Saturday morning and you smell that nice, delicious bacon. Yeah, but I'm never going to eat pork again. I don't try to sway people to follow my lead in that, but it is what it is. And yeah, T, go to my Facebook page, go to my Twitter page. I posted a video, and McDonald's got this campaign going on where they're letting people know, or they're answering any questions they have about their product, okay? And it's because, everybody's like you, T. They're conspiracy theorists on fast food restaurants, this, that, and the other. So check that video out, okay, and hit me back, put a post on the put a message on the post, a reply or something like that. And after you watch the video, tell me what you think about McDonald's. How you like me now, McDonald's is saying. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining you folks. Let's see. From Jungle Brother, they're just shaking Winston down. Yes. And talking about Jameis Winston and what's going on with him right now at Florida State. Jimbo Fisher says he's going to stand by him. And T was talking about Tim Donaghy. Remember Tim Donaghy, the referee? Yes. That was one of the greatest, I don't want to call it a cover-up because they reported it, but the way and the amount of coverage that story should have gotten, it should have got 1,000 times more coverage than it did. And it kind of got swept under the rug. And another story came out, and another story came out that kind of took its place on the pecking order of when they talked about it. And that story should still be talked about. But guess what? If you talk about that story and you expose cheating from referees and the fact that they were technically fixing games, then the NBA might go bye-bye. And nobody wants that. I think it's almost like we look the other way because we don't want to see the NBA go bye-bye. But if you could prove a cheating scandal, reminiscent of the Black Sox scandal, if you could prove that in 2012 or 2011, 10, whatever year it was that story hit, then you're talking about the jeopardy of the league. And I think that subconsciously, us as fans, we kind of look the other way. Yeah, because that story is much deeper and should have received much more coverage than we gave it to as sports fans. You had referees fixing games? Huh? Come on, man. And you know good and well these guys, like T said, didn't act alone. Yes. So that story was huge. Yes, when we get back from the break, I'll tell you my top 5 college football scandals. Having fun talking about scandals and interesting conversation about scandals in sports. You know what's going on with Todd Gurley and Jameis Winston. What's happened in the NFL over the last couple of months. So giving a little talk to that. Also, guilty pleasures. Yeah, talking about guilty pleasures. What's your guilty pleasure? T, thank you very much, man. But I will never, and you, like I said, you must have just joined the show late. I will never, ever give up Big Macs. I've eaten over 1,000 of them in my lifetime, and I'll probably eat another 1,000. Yes, don't go away. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Yes, yes, yes.
This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at you both. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Yes!
Now back to the realest sports talk show in America, The Doug Stewart Show.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you tell 8, 9, tell 10 people about The Doug Stewart Show, the livest and most interactive sports talk show in America. Yeah, you still got time to call the show, 404-382-0338. And you can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. And this segment is brought to you by Join 7. Yeah, Join 7. Protect against life's little mishaps. Join 7. Go to my website, thedougstewartshow.com, and click on their banner link. All right, so I'm about to give you my top 5 on this Top 5 Tuesday. I'm about to give you my top 5 college football scandals, and also read some of these messages on the chat line. Let me pull those up right now. Where y'all get this music from? This is like some love-making music. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Let's see, from the chat line, from Marvin Banks. He says, Killer Clowns from Outer Space had everybody in case he shook. I don't know if he got back on that subject. We were talking about that the other day. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. So we were talking about scary clowns and how people have phobias of clowns. What's it, America Horror Story? I think that's the name of the show. They had an ugly-ass scary clown on the other night. From James Cooper. He says, I go out for breakfast buffet on the weekend, getting bacon on Saturday morning. It's like Christmas morning every week. Yes, and I can identify. I don't know when it was that Shoney started doing that breakfast bar, and you can relate. I know people in their car right now nodding their head. Yeah. That breakfast bar at Shoney's, where you can get limitless bacon, it almost seems criminal. It almost seemed criminal, like you feel guilty for eating 25 pieces of bacon. Yes. So I feel you, and I understand that. And I mentioned earlier how I'm never going to eat pork again. I stopped eating pork. Country boy like myself has probably eaten an entire weight of a pig and pork and bacon in my entire life, but I'm not eating pork anymore. It's been almost 5 years. And yes, I feel you. That Shoney's breakfast bar is almost criminal. From Jungle Brother, he says, Joey Crawford is still fixing NBA games. I'm not going to say that, but it's very, very tricky. And some of the calls that they make seemingly seem like there's some fixing still going on. We talked about Tim Donaghy a little bit earlier, the referee that admitted to fixing games and cheating. And who do we got here? So those are all your messages on the chat line. So thank you for being interactive with the show on Spreaker.com on the chat line. Also hitting me up on Twitter. Didn't get a chance to read a lot of the Twitter messages today. I'll try to pull up a couple here before we get out of today's show. But we're talking about scandal in sports. So here's my top 5 college football scandals of all time. Number 5 is what happened with Jim Tressel at Ohio State. Wrecked his career. Basically, I think Terrell Pryor was caught up in that. They made money from selling or getting tattoos for memorabilia. And Jim Tressel basically bumped for the guys and say that he didn't have any knowledge. He didn't disclose that information and ultimately had to resign from Ohio State. And that's one of the instances where a coach actually got caught up in the situation as well. And once again, kind of like I mentioned a little bit earlier with Jimbo Fisher, I kind of give Jim Tressel kudos, for trying to keep it wraps and try to take care of his players. I respect that. I might be wrong in a lot of people's eyes, but damn it, that's me. And how about this? And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. How about Free Shoes University at Florida State University, the number 4 biggest college football scandal? They received, the kids at Florida State, and I can't remember what year this was, they received like over $6,000 in free sneakers from some Foot Locker or Foot Action, whatever, in Tallahassee. That was a huge scandal. And then there was a couple of years later, there was another scandal where Bobby Bowden had to vacate 12 victories because of an academic cheating scandal. So pretty much any program in the state of Florida, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, has come under a lot of fire for cheating one way or the other. Not so much Florida, but definitely Miami. Definitely Florida State's had their share of controversy. How about Barry Switzer? That era coming to an end at Oklahoma. He had a great record, but might have been able to survive. He would have been able to survive the 18 NCAA violations and allegations. But then you had these allegations that went on with the quarterback. You remember Charles Thompson? Dude was arrested in 89 for selling cocaine. Cocaina. Yes, the quarterback. He was selling cocaine to an undercover agent. So that's your number 3 college football scandal. And Barry Switzer was done in Oklahoma. Obviously did some fantastic things. But, yeah, that ushered his way out of college football. And how about number 2? Southern California and your boy Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush is the only player in college football history to give back his Heisman. Yes, in 2005, he was removed. They were removed from another major infraction in 2001 when tutors were caught writing papers for football players. That all went down at USC as well. But Reggie Bush, they have documents or proof that his agent, or was it an agent or was it a booster, bought a house for his mom and him? Yes! And so Reggie Bush gave back his Heisman. I'm going to tell you this right now. I ain't giving back my damn Heisman. I mean, period. I'm not giving it back. Like, what was the purpose of him giving it back? What he did was on the field, these benefits and everything that happened with Reggie Bush, that's off the field. It's almost like when you say because somebody did something bad off the field, you're not going to put him in said Hall of Fame. That's ridiculous. It should be all about what happened on the field. That's why I feel like the situation with Pete Rose is ridiculous to me, especially after all of these years. He never proved that Pete bet on or against the Cincinnati Reds. So that's I digress. But, yeah, if I'm Reggie Bush, I'm not giving back nothing. I'm not giving back nothing. And the number 1 college football scandal is SMU, the Pony Express. The glory days of Eric Dickerson and Craig James. The only major college football to receive the death penalty. And if you haven't seen that 30 for 30, we had the conversation a couple of weeks ago on the show when you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. We had the conversation about the best 30 for 30s, which is a phenomenal show on ESPN. A phenomenal show. One of the best sports shows of all time. Commentary shows of all time. Which 30 for 30 do you think is the best one? That story on SMU is definitely in the running. I don't know where it would rank. If you did a poll, and maybe they could do a poll, or maybe they have done a poll on ESPN where they talked about the top 30 for 30s. And which one do you think was the best one or the most interesting? And if they did a poll, that one on what went on at SMU was very good. Very well done. Very well done. And they received a death penalty. They didn't even have football in 87 or 88, my junior and senior years in high school. And they've never recovered. They've got June Jones, and they've been lifted. The penalties have been lifted, but it's just hard to bounce back when your program sucks for that long and is that bad and has so much negative press. It's hard to bounce back. And SMU has never bounced back, and I don't think they never will. It was just, you take football away, period. And in the state of Texas, they love their football down there. And they still haven't been able to recover from that death penalty. So, yes, scandal in college football is nothing new. And all of these things we're seeing with Jameis Winston and what's going on in college football and Todd Gurley, yeah, that's nothing new. I mean, where these kids are going to get pimped, there are going to be a couple of kids that are going to buck the system. Yes. And so that's what you see out of all these scandals. It's always about money. It's always about money. It comes down to money and getting the best players so the program could thrive. And that's what it's never going to change. It's absolutely never going to change. And it's just at a heightened level these days because of the media and because of social media and everything that goes with it. And so, interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. So I think we're going to get some finality to what's going on with Todd Gurley and with Jameis Winston very soon here on this autograph thing. It's as simple as what happened with Johnny Manziel. They can't prove that he took money. There's nothing you can do. Is it suspect as hell that you signed him with 600 things? Yes. Yes. But just like Johnny Manziel, they didn't have the goods on him. So all they could do was sit him for a minute. That's all they could do is just sit him for a minute, for a half. And we might see something to the same with this newest Jameis Winston situation and Todd Gurley situation. All right, thank you for everybody for joining the show today and checking me out and passing the word. This is the real trio sports talk here on the Doug Stewart Show, man. That's the real thing. This is how we do it, Stu style. Tell 10 people about the livest, most interactive show on radio. All right. Shouts out to the Tree of Life, aka Tree Taylor. Or the other way around, you know what I mean. Shouts out, Tree. Thank you very much for everything that you do. Thank you to my man, Waterhead Walter. Thank you for everything you do. Dwayne Bassan, thank you for what you do for the show, as well as Gerald Oliveri. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, that's making this show the fastest growing sports talk show in America. It's not the normal show. It's not the lame-ass weak show down the dial. It's not. This is Stu style. This is the Doug Stewart Show. So thank you very much for joining me. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same Doug time, same Doug channel. Don't you feel like Batman when you hear me say that? Huh? Don't you? Don't you? Same Doug time, same Doug channel. Peace.